A very good evening. This is Eswatini TV News Bulletin at 8. We're coming to you live from the capital of the Kingdom of Eswatini, Mbabane. My name is Nosile Sitole. First up, here's a look at tonight's headlines. The acting Prime Minister, together with the Speaker in the House of Assembly, have apologized to members of Parliament for utterances that were made by Finance Minister and Senate. The 24.04 billion Emalangeni budget for 2021-2022 financial year has been passed by the House of Assembly. Members of Parliament have taken the AstraZeneca jab for COVID-19. And now the news in detail. Eswatini acting Prime Minister Themba Masuku, together with the House of Assembly Speaker Petros Mavimbela, have apologized to members of Parliament in the House of Assembly over utterances made by the Minister of Finance Nurkenberg while in Senate. Masuku and Mavimbela extended an apology after Alobamba Lomzala, Member of Parliament Mawi Khumalo, wanted the minister to give clarity on his remarks.
Last week, the Minister of Finance, Neil Rickenberg, while in Senate, made unpleasant utterances about members of Parliament in the House of Assembly. It is for this reason that when the House of Assembly sat on Tuesday morning, Lobamba Lomzala, Member of Parliament Mawi Khumalo, moved that the Minister should give clarity regarding his remarks, which has offended many members of Parliament in the House of Assembly. Members of Parliament supported the motion by Khumalo, adding that the acting Prime Minister, Themba Masuku, and the House of Assembly Speaker should be held accountable for the minister's remarks, as they should have prevented him from saying such or even retracting the statement days later.
No, expression. Expression no, that's not the practice. It's not allowed. So we will Mr. Speaker.
Acting Prime Minister Themba Masuku and House of Assembly Speaker Petros Mavimbela acknowledged that the remarks by the Minister of Finance Neil Rickenberg were unpleasant. Therefore, they apologized, saying going forward they will ensure that such does not happen.
Umhlonishwa simane silaleki wakhe nje siqhubekele phambili sisebenze sonke sitawubambisana. Ngicela lokho njengoba lokhu sakhulume mhlambe utabe se othungile naye mhlambe. Ngiyabonga nami ngicawucisa nje lokuthi lokho kuxolisa lengakusho ukusiqhaqhanisho sitawubenda nasilokufanele thine sibahole sikhona lokusebenta sikwende kube kusebenta lokukakhe.
The members of Parliament forgive the Minister of Finance, saying he should not repeat similar offense in the future, as they have a potential to strain the House of Assembly and Senate work relationship. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlanga Mandla, with Bawetu Stole, Parliament.
The body of deceased Tanzanian woman has been found. According to the acting Prime Minister Themba Masuku, the body got mixed up with that of a deceased police officer who was buried at Mvuma in the Northern Ho region.
Around August last year, there was a much publicized matter relating to deceased Tanzanian national Miss Gladness Eje, whose body was reported to have gone missing from the morgue facility where it had been kept. This incident, according to the acting Prime Minister, troubled government as it was unexpected and first of its kind, coming as it did at a time when the country was still coming to grips with the COVID-19 pandemic and its range of life-altering protocols for dealing with different situations, such as the handling of dead bodies in this particular instance. Acting Prime Minister says the investigations that were launched by the police continued until the early part of this month, when information of a possible mix-up of the dead bodies of the Tanzanian national with the one of a female police officer who was buried in an area in northern Hoho came through. The Prime Minister says the DNA results.
The DNA test results have since come back positive and confirm that the body that was exhumed is indeed that of the late Mrs. Gladness Edje. The recovery of Mrs. Edje's remains has brought immense relief to government, as this is one matter that was greatly confounding. We are therefore grateful that the mystery has now been resolved and a positive breakthrough made. We wish to take this opportunity to thank Mrs. Edje's family for the cooperation and understanding shown throughout the course of the investigations. We believe the family will now be able to find closure and healing after what must have been a difficult period of pain and despair.
The Prime Minister applauded the Tanzanian High Commission for the encouragement they received whilst the process of investigations were underway, and generally for the level-headed manner with which they dealt with the matter. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Lincoln Kule in Babane.
On Tuesday, the 2021-2022 budget, which is 24.04 billion emalangeni, was passed. After it was passed, House of Assembly Speaker Petrus Mavimbela encouraged the Minister of Finance Nurkenberg to go out and work for Eswatini.
A month has since elapsed since the Minister of Finance, Neil Rickenberg, tabled the country's budget for the financial year of 2021-2022, a package which went down from 24.4 billion emalangeni to 24.04 billion emalangeni. The budget has finally been approved by the members of Parliament. The Minister delivered his budget speech on 26th of February. The budget has been passed amid intensive debate and scrutiny in both the House of Assembly and the Senate chambers in Parliament. The House of Assembly approved the national budget last week, while in Senate it was approved on Monday. On Tuesday, a Senate report was read out in House of Assembly, whereupon it was observed that no changes had been made to the minister's initial budget proposition. After the budget was passed, Speaker in the House of Assembly, Petrus Mavimbela, encouraged the Minister of Finance, Neil Rickenberg, to begin fully-fledged activities which are in line with the budget. In the approved budget, the Ministry of Health will get a lion's share of allocations when compared to other ministries. Last year, the ministry was allocated a total of 3.5 billion emalangeni, while the financial year of 2020-2021, it has been given 3.2 billion emalangeni. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla, with Bawethu Stole, Parliament.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation is pleased to announce that the Kingdom of Eswatini has successfully met the benchmarks required for the country to be removed from the EU's list of non-cooperative tax jurisdictions. Eswatini officially handed over all the documents confirming compliance to the EU's tax requirements on the 15th of March 2021. The Kingdom had been placed on the blacklist of non-cooperative tax jurisdictions in the year 2016. Subsequently, notifications and requests for information were received by the Embassy of Eswatini in Brussels, after which a process towards addressing this issue commenced. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation and the Ministry of Finance collaborated towards having the indicated benchmarks met as required for compliance with the conditions set by the EU in order for Eswatini to be removed from the list of non-cooperative tax jurisdictions. Training was provided by the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development to facilitate the processes required for accession. Moving on with the bulletin, members of Parliament in the House of Assembly have been vaccinated with the COVID-19 AstraZeneca vaccine. Speaking in the House of Assembly, Petrus Mavimbela, members of Parliament showed great interest in the AstraZeneca vaccine.
A significant number of members of parliament took the AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine on Tuesday. Speaker in the House of Assembly, Petros Mavimbela, says most MPs simply took it upon themselves to receive the vaccine without necessarily being persuaded or convinced to do so.
Malunga eParliament njengobonile etenge bunyenti babo ukuthatha lo mjovo la. Lokusho kona ukuthi amalunga eParliament abahole. So kenyalo lo sawuthethe lo mjovo sawatawuphuma kenyalo ashone tonke etinkundleni lapho aqhamuka khona afike asensitize noma kumbe akhuthade wonke umuntu loluswathe lokusuka nje 18 years uyashona ukuthi bekunene asambe ngizojova umjovo sokukhona sifuna kuphila COVID-19 ukhona and COVID-19 uyabulala so ngingasho nje ukuthi lokwentiwe kemalunga sicela ukuthi nasetinkundleni kusayiwa khona wonke umuntu akaphumele ngaphandle sisetekale sive sijove umkhuhlane ungasibulali nje singakasitekali uhulumeni soyikhokhile imali akusenjetwe basidonatele asijove.
On Monday, the Minister of Health Lizinkosi informed the senators that it is in the ministry's rollout plan to vaccinate senators soon. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla with Bawethu Stole, Parliament.
Are done in The National Disaster Management Agency has presented its end-of-year report to Eswatini chiefs. The programs officer for the National Disaster Management Agency in the Eswatini region, Honke Mamba, says most of their response programs are done in communities. Therefore, it is only right that all implemented responses at community level are presented to chiefs.
The year of 2020 was a nightmare for most Eswatini, following a global pandemic and tropical cyclone Eloise that wreaked havoc in most families and communities. The programs officer at the National Disaster Management Agency in the Eswatini region, Honke Mamba, says the NDMA devised a strategic rapid response to alleviate hardship to the most affected in communities.
Si update bobabe tikhulu ukuthi sisifunza saseshiselweni senden sikwende kanjani ngimaphi ama successes ngitiphi ingcinamba lesihlangabetane nato walisisasebenta walisisa thula lepoti yethu kuba mcoka kakhulu lokuthi bobabe tikhulu babe nalesithombe emqondo sale emsebenzi lebabona lemangweni lokuthi uqala kuphi ugcina kuphi yini ingcinamba letiba khona walikusasa nje sikhonile ke kubathulela bobabe ukuthi ngiluphi usito lwahulumende lolufike emangweni lwathi lwafika lwabanganani khona le emangweni bobabe bacele ukuthi sichubeke siwende lo msebenzi siufake lo mfutho sichubeke silethe lo sito lwahulumende emangweni.
Chief Malambule Mdluli of Mbilaneni Umphakathi thanked the National Disaster Management Agency for the help they extended to their communities towards easing the deadly virus.
Bakhona disaster abambisene nemimango lokuthi balwe naso lesifo singadikhanzi sinetinombolo letiningi kubantu labasishiyako eShiselweni.
The chiefs expressed great appreciation to the National Disaster Management Agency for supplying their communities with clean water. For Eswatini TV News, Sifiso Nxumalo with Muva Shongwe in Hlangano.
His Majesty's Correctional Services Commissioner General Lamakhosini Dlamini has advised Correctional Services employees to vaccinate in order to prevent themselves from the virus. Dlamini said this during the launch of the vaccination exercise in all the Correctional Services departments around the country.
In an effort to encourage correctional services employees to prevent COVID-19, the employees in all correctional departments around the country were capacitated and encouraged to vaccinate. His Majesty's Correctional Services Commissioner General Lamakhosini Dlamini says the reason why employees within the correctional departments are taught about the importance of vaccinating is that it will then encourage them to vaccinate.
Sibonile ufike COVID-19 last year sahambisana nayo. Sekusithandaza ukuthi aphe khona umjovo longathuka khona semvikele. So ufikile lo mjovo. Sibona makhosi eMeswati ukuthi azamile indlela letihloko netengonyama ukuthi manje sibe nawo lo mjovo. Ngabakhuthaza lonke eSwati ngikhuthaze nama officers besinawo la kanye nabo lesibabhekile ukuthi maselifike lethuba selifike kunyama musakujikisa lincane athethe dotini indlela aspect netempilo asikwende khona stop phela ikho khona.
Dlamini says if all correctional services employees can vaccinate and adhere to the COVID-19 regulations, the virus cannot be spread and the employees can also be safe. Leading by example, His Majesty's Correctional Services Commissioner General then took the first AstraZeneca vaccine shot together with the executive and health personnel within the department. For Eswatini TV News, Zoto Dlamini pictures from Correctional Services.
More than 3,256 Eswatini, including health workers and government officials, have already vaccinated with the AstraZeneca vaccine to prevent COVID-19. This was said by Public Health Senior Medical Officer Dr. Bongiwe Malinga during an interview with Eswatini TV News in Mbabane.
Since the AstraZeneca vaccine for preventing COVID-19 is already in the country and health workers and other government officials have already vaccinated using the vaccine, Public Health Senior Medical Officer in the Ministry of Health says the number of health workers and government officials who are vaccinating daily is increasing and members of the general public are showing much interest to vaccinate.
Since we started our vaccination, that was almost like a week ago, we have vaccinated a total of 3,256 adults. Lubombo had 467 individuals vaccinated so far. Shiselweni had 489. Manzini region has about 1,190, while Hoho is at 1,110. So that gives us the total of 3,256.
Dr. Malinga says the AstraZeneca vaccine manufactured by the Oxford University in the United Kingdom and Sweden is effective and safe. Dr. Malinga further explains the benefits of the vaccine.
There are many benefits of this vaccine. The first one that I can highlight is that it protects from severe COVID-19 disease. What do we mean by severe COVID-19 disease? We mean the kind of disease that is so serious that you need to be hospitalized. You need maybe to be admitted to ICU for critical care. That maybe you may even end up, unfortunately, losing your life. That is severe disease.
Then encouraged Eswatini to vaccinate in order to reduce the spread of the virus countrywide and also reduce mortality rate caused by the impact of the virus. For Eswatini TV News, Zoto Dlamini with Mbonga Tube, Mbabane.
The first day of school's opening brought joy and excitement to most preschool-going children, while some were crying and wondering as to what is exactly happening because they were used to staying at home due to the outbreak of COVID-19, which resulted to government closing all schools in March last year.
Since Tuesday, the 30th of March marks the second day of the opening of schools in the country, following the government's decision of closing schools in March last year due to the increase in the number of people who were being infected by COVID-19, while some even lost their lives. People were advised to stay at home, and this also resulted to the government to close schools. School-going children were forced to stay at home to prevent them from being infected by the virus. On the 29th of March, the government then decided to reopen all schools in the country. We then spoke to various preschool head teachers in Mbabane and surrounding areas about the government's decision to reopen schools and to find out how the preschool children are doing since the schools have reopened, as well as complying to the COVID-19 regulations, and they had this to say.
Yesterday, it's been so wow to them. The day was so exciting. They were so excited. It was their first day to come to school after all these months. So they were very, very excited. They wanted to hug each other. They wanted to hug their teachers. But we had to teach them that no, now there is no hug. Instead of hug, we just use our elbows to say hi to each other.
Some were excited, but some were wondering what's going on, because it seems like it's another environment, since we all know that now we are wearing masks, and last time when we closed, nobody was wearing masks. So some they were wondering.
Most preschool head teachers revealed that they are still working hard to educate the preschool-going children about complying to the regulations, and also stated that during a training conducted by the Early Childhood Care and Development in the Ministry of Education, they were told that preschool children from the age of 0 to 5 years of age are not supposed to wear face masks. For Eswatini TV News, Zoto Antlamene with Mbonga Dube, Babane.
The Kingdom's Agenda 2063 Academy has urged young people, women and small business owners to participate in the latest African Union and AU Trade Group competition, whose winners will automatically take part in the second Intra-African Trade Fair, which will be held in Kigali, Rwanda. The Academy CEO Nombulelo Mbogazi says young people in Eswatini don't usually participate in continental activities, which is a trend that needs to come to an end.
The second Intra-African Trade Fair will be held in Kigali, Rwanda in September this year. In a bid to encourage entrepreneurs from every African country to participate in this continental fair, the African Union and AE Trade Group have initiated a competition whose winners will have their full expenses of participating in the Rwanda fair catered for. Eswatini Agenda 2063 Academy CEO Nombulelo Mbogazi shares perspective on why it is important for local entrepreneurs to participate in continental development initiatives.
This is a great opportunity for, as emerging leaders and young people, for young people to go to engage and network with people and other entrepreneurs from all over the continent of Africa. Because since this is an intra-Africa trade, it means that you get to learn more about what other countries are producing, and in exchange what one can produce and sell outside from the country, in turn what one can import. And we could even have opportunities to partner as well.
Mbogazi urges Emaswati business people to guard against comparing themselves with South Africans, but to inculcate a spirit of self-confidence.
It doesn't matter where you come from, it doesn't matter how small your population is, but as long as your innovation is that disruptive, one can just compete with anyone.
The Intra-African Trade Fair also gives governments from across the continent an opportunity to set up their own pavilions to showcase what their countries have on offer. Locals with an interest to participate in the AUAE trade competition can get full logistical details from the Agenda 2063 social media platforms, as well as those of the AU and AE Trade Group. For Eswatini TV News, Hlengiwe Ndlovu with Muzim Konda at Ezulwini.
A very good evening once again. You are still watching Eswatini TV. Now we'll take a look at our sports news. Players from the Big Three teams say they are ready for the start of the Premier League games this coming Friday. The players say even though it'll be hard, they feel they will be able to handle the pressure. The players were speaking during their team's trainings.
League teams are currently preparing for the restart of the Premier League games this coming Friday. The Premier League announced that they will be playing at least 3 games in 7 days because they have already lost plenty of times because of the coronavirus outbreak. The players from the Big Three, Mbabane Highlanders, Mbabane Swallows and Mansinondra, says they are ready for the games and the tight schedule they will have to fight through it, and they are ready.
So far so good. I think we have got a lot of young players. They are full of energy, they are fresh, so it's a combination of experience and young players. So I believe we can cope despite the fact that the games will be coming thick and fast. But with the caliber of player we have around there, I think we can be able to do it because they are young and they've got the energies.
I think it's going to be a challenge, as I experienced in the final. But we professional players, we believe we'll take one game at a time, and it's coming up okay. So we believe the first game will be very important with the 3 points.
Siyazama kulekelelwa i-technical team yethu, siyazama uku-adapt but umtimba ufuna ukuthi usheshe uadapt.
Ngicabanga ukuthi utabalkhuni for emajita kulama games because le fixture i-congested kakhulu, but ngicabanga ukuthi coach basebendayo ezibona njenganyalo emajita asemsebenzini wawo. Ngicabanga ukuthi ata wenda umsebenzi wawo ngalo ma instructions from coach ata execute ngendlela lengiyo.
Kulikhona akusimva lencane ngoba ukuthi ama games siyawadlala atalandzelana. Isikhathi sibe singanzo ukuthi sipreparation, but coach bethu bazama ukuthi bahlanze konke imva babona ukuthi tasitha amazilala.
Premier League teams have already tested for COVID-19 where non-positive cases have been reported, which gives the confidence that the games will be able to start as scheduled. First games will be played on Friday and the next one will be played on Monday. Reporting for Eswatini TV Sports News, I am Patizwe Msibi with Linda Dlamini, Mbabane.
Mbabane Mayor Sikhumbuzo Dube says the town is currently working on improving their recreational facilities so that they may be accessible to those living with disabilities. Dube was speaking during a kit presentation to the Mbabane wheelchair basketball team in Mbabane.
The Mbabane Municipal is currently working on improving all their facilities so that people with disabilities can be able to use them without any problems. The mayor of the town, Sikhumbuzo Dube, says they are now working on making their recreational facilities accessible to even those who are living with disabilities.
Well, what may mention that if you analyze the issue of social inclusion, it's a pretty new concept altogether, and you realize that most of our facilities are old. However, having said that, as the city of Mbabane, will be doing a few adjustments to those recreational facilities to ensure that they're accessible to people living with disabilities.
The Mbabane wheelchair basketball team was then presented with a playing kit by the Mbabane municipality. Team captain Mboyi Masuku says they are very happy with the kit and highlighted that it is what they have always wanted.
Siyabonga nje kakhulu umva singathanda ukuthi ibongela kakhulu kumasipala wethu eMbabane. Lijezi besivele silidzinga litasita kakhulu ukuthi nje nasimasidlala sibonakale ngobe sinema team lamanye ledlala nawo like Manzini, so I think nje kuyinga izivelo kusisifunele siyiteam yaseMbabane lelijezi lisalta khona kusi identify as badlali bebasketball.
Former President Sipho Dlamini says he hopes the relationship between them will have a lasting effect and never change, and he also appreciated the kind gesture shown to them by the municipality.
So sethemba ukuthi angeke kuhambe ukuthi ngekuhamba kwesikhathi sengene nalabanye bese seyakhatheka lethayile leyakhekile nyalo inhle kakhulu siyayitusa so baphindze ke basiphake lelijezi lokukhombisa ukuthi vele wonke umuntu ufuna ukuthi ashukume to our wheelchair basketball team.
The team says they do hope the coronavirus will be over soon and they'll be able to go back to compete again. Reporting for Eswatini TV Sports News, I am Patizwe Msibi with Linda Dlamini. Bye-bye.
That's all for now. Before we conclude, let's have a look at tonight's headlines. The acting Prime Minister, together with the Speaker in the House of Assembly, have apologized to members of Parliament for utterances that were made by Finance Minister and Senate. The 24.04 billion Emalangeni budget for 2021-2022 financial year has been passed by the House of Assembly. Members of Parliament have taken the AstraZeneca jab for COVID-19. And with that, Eswatini, we sum up our bulletin for the evening. Up next is the weather update from myself and the team here at Eswatini TV. Thank you for watching. Good night.
At Build It, saving on quality is easy. Get a roll-up garage door in brown, charcoal or white for a super low 1490. Plus, stand a chance to win one of 700 Build It bicycles. Hurry, promo ends 10 April. Only at Build It.
Step it up with girls' boots from $139.99 and ladies' boots at just $179.99. Why pay more? Find more in store for a wonderful winter. Life's better with Pep.